But, that's the thing about theater is it's not one art form. It's 14 art forms smashed together. It's Sleep No More, and it's The Lion King. It's, La Mama, and it's Fuerza Bruta, and it's Something Rotten. It's as traditional as you want it to be, and it's as far out as you need it to be. The question of phones in our theaters is the question of phones in our lives, like how much is too much, and we're all struggling with integrating technology in our lives.
So back to the collaborative process a little bit. You worked with Questlove and Black Thought from The Roots on your cast album, which is very unique in the Broadway sphere. How much did they influence what's on the cast album?
They were essential. Honestly, the thing with the thing with cast albums, and I speak as someone who grew up loving cast albums, there is no production of Camelot that will match the production of Camelot in my brain from having memorized it in my mom's Subaru. She used to break the knob off on Guinevere, and we would bump it. But that being said, most cast albums are recorded in a day because of union rules. I don't know if you know this, you pay an actor a week's salary for every 8 hours they're recording a cast album. You go over, it's another week's salary. So it's very expensive to make a cast album. We were very lucky to partner with Atlantic on this cast album, which gave us the luxury of 2 weeks to record the band separately, sections of the orchestra separately, the cast separately, so we could really isolate every instrument. And then when you have the Roots involved, these guys have been making records, hip-hop records, forever. So it can be as simple as Questlove saying, turn the drums up. And it can be as specific as the amp you're running that snare through isn't getting you the sound you want. What you want is this sound. Because they've been, in there making these way longer than we have. And so their expertise was essential in, if most cast albums, it's like 70% vocals because the lyrics are important, and then the music is down here and it was recorded in a day, it's like 30%. We're like 55-45. So we tried to make a cast album that would really rattle the bass of your car without sacrificing any lyrical clarity, and just getting as much of Alex's amazing orchestrations to be heard as possible. And really push the limits of, you always, you're walking a line between documenting the stage experience and creating a special, audio experience. We pushed, there's vocal stuff in there that like you would do in a studio that you're not going to hear in our live show, but it makes it sound more like a hip hop album or a pop album than us all being in a studio recording in 8 hours.
So is there a world in which this can exist on the radio? Because, Broadway used to be popular music back in the day.
Yeah.
And Max's Hair has really, has been popular.
Well, that's the thing I think about the most. I think about The Fifth Dimension, who did, in 1969, did a cover of Aquarius and Let the Sun Shine In. And really kind of took it and flipped, they mashed 2 songs together and kind of made this beautiful thing that isn't of the soundtrack at all. I think Hamilton has an opportunity, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think it might happen, for artists to cover songs from this show and then be on the radio. That would be really exciting for me. I think it would be exciting to reconnect theater to popular music because it's already been happening in secret. We're already a silent majority. There's a reason Glee ran for so long. There's a reason, all of you guys did a school play at some point, and there's this musical that's in your bloodstream because you played Hansel in Hansel and Gretel, or you played Captain Hook in Peter Pan, or you were in a Munchkin in 9th grade in The Wizard of Oz. And that's a musical experience you have that we don't reflect in our mainstream society, but it's there. So I think there's a huge appetite for it. I just think it's what's going to bridge that gap.
So you and I went to the talk of Sondheim and Kushner.
Yeah.
And
we were in the front like this.
Yeah.
Geniuses.
Exactly. And you're like, this is my way you're backstage. It's Mother Blake to Stephen Sondheim, and I was like, yeah. There was a really interesting question that Kushner asked Sondheim that I'm going to ask you now. So how do you physically create? So Sondheim, very famously, pencil to the yellow legal pad.
Lying down, glass of wine.
Exactly. Christian was like, I need to be hunched over a desk and like kind of like keep it secret, like that physically be there creating. Everybody has a different manifestation of their creativity. Is there something that you physically do that gets you into a creative space?
I find that moving around is really the most helpful with lyrics. I think having a dog has increased my productivity 50-fold because I gotta take 3 walks a day. And I wrote most of Neil Patrick Harris's Tony opener in Inwood Hill Park, walking my dog and talking to myself. Toby heard the first draft of, Toby was my dog, heard the first draft of all of that stuff. Yeah, so, but often what I'll do is, I'll just sort of noodle around on the piano or noodle around on the keyboard. I have a program called Logic Pro that records the music I'm writing. I'll get myself a good loop, something that if I hit loop and 1 in my iTunes, it'll loop it continuously. If that's a piece of music I feel good about or feels like it has the energy of what I'm trying to write, I'll go take a walk and talk to myself until it feels true. And when it feels true, I write it down. And if it's not working, if it's not generating stuff, I know there's something, I gotta go back to the music and continue to play with that. But I kind of keep the music and lyrics weirdly separate. And then there are just the days when it all comes at once. King George came without a piano on my honeymoon. I was in Bora Bora. There was not a piano or instrument in sight. The melody was so strong that I just wrote down the lyrics and was like, I'm gonna remember this. And when I got to a piano, once I got back home, is when I figured out the chords and the progression under it. But it just was like, I exist now, like write me down. And you're very grateful when that happens. Sometimes it's, you were there when I started writing Jefferson's song. We were at Bizzetti's house.
Oh, when we were playing the pool.
Yeah, when we were playing at the pool. We were at my agent's house, and I was writing Thomas Jefferson's first song in the show. And I knew I didn't want to write a hip-hop song for him because Jefferson's like a generation older than most of our characters. I wanted him...
What did I miss? That song?
Yeah, that's what I was writing that day. When I kept going inside. That's what I was working on.
So, I mean, I just tell people, like, I was your muse for that song.
That's a stretch, Blake. But you were in the room where it happened.
I was.